Hello friends, my name is Grace Joseph. I am studying in 6th grade and I am here to talk about dealing with peer pressure as Christian teenagers. Peer pressure. Peer pressure is really hard. We want our friends to like us and think well of us. So it's hard to say no when they want us to do things, even if those things are wrong. It can feel so important to be accepted by people. But what about being accepted and esteemed by God Himself? When our actions are controlled by what other people think, we lose our connection with God and our ability to serve Him and hear His voice. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 5 says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength." The first step in being able to resist peer pressure is to live for God alone, to love God, and to have a fear to sin against Him. To commit a sin is to consciously do something that we know goes against God's will. This can be in word, deed, or thought. Romans chapter 12, verses 2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." As we grow as Christians, we should look like less and less like our worldly friends and more like Jesus. This way, we'll be able to stand out, and when other people look at us, they'll be able to see God's goodness. This is being an actual Christian. In other words, Christ in us. Jesus suffered from pressure and temptation too. When Jesus was on earth, many people, even the devil, tried to get him to do wrong things. Hebrews chapter 2, verses 18 says, "Because he himself suffered when he was tempted, he was able to help those who are tempted." When we are tempted to give in to peer pressure, Jesus knows how we feel. He stood firm, and with His help, we can be strengthened to resist pressure too. We must be prepared for the moment we are moved to do wrong and listen to our biblically trained conscience telling us to flee. We need to be determined to obey the Father at all times. The important thing here is knowing what our values are and being committed to upholding them. If we have done the wrong thing, pray to God for forgiveness and ask Him for His help to stand firm in the future. 1 John chapter 1 verses 9 says, "If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness." Peer pressure is really tough, but don't forget that in all parts of life, God is there for you. God bless. Amen.